Okay, welcome back to the next bit of it. As you can see, she's pretty stripped now. Carbs off, all the electric box, regulator, etc., battery box, all that has been removed. And reason being is that we need to get to I need to find originally where the back wheel is in relation to the frame. I've had string lines down between the wheels to straighten the back wheel up pretty accurately as well. Checked and double checked, okay? And because I never really rely on the chain pulls, I don't think they're that accurate. And I also got a straight edge down from the sprocket, side of the sprocket, down to the engine sprocket in there. The reason why I can go off that and centralise the wheel is aligning the wheel up, the sprocket up to the front sprocket. Again, the engine now is probably the most accurate machined part of the bike, isn't it? I mean, you get 90-degree faces on casing machining to another a 90-degree. You know, you've got a vertical machine face and a horizontal machine face, and it's all pretty accurate in the engine's production. So we know that the sprocket is pretty much going to be sat, unless they've mounted the engine slightly on the piss, excuse the expression. I doubt it, okay. You know, so these kind of things, this tube in here, this face of this head, essentially are going to be flat that way. I know it's on, that's a 45-degree, but probably going off topic what I'm talking about here. So by aligning the rear wheel to the sprockets are most, for me anyway, is our most accurate dating off the bike. And it was also interesting to see whether the frame is actually accurate from Honda. And I know the history of this; it's never been down the road or anything like that. So, so aligning it up, I then went on to string, and it actually works out that the chain pulls are absolutely identical when it's straight. So we're identical and identical on that side. So they are actually, in this instance, accurate. So that centre line of that wheel, with the sprocket to the sprocket, the wheel isn't steering either left or right, it's absolutely straight ahead, and string line checked to the front wheel. So this is now exactly where I needed to now project from the wheel to the frame in there. Little red mark in there, and off that side, little red mark in there. Obviously halve that now, and that gives me absolute centre line of this wheel. Because if it's sort of on the piss that way, you would get a wrong reflection. So the reason, as I'm sure I've explained, the reason being is this baby is going to go in. Okay, so I've got, the reason I went for that version of the swinging arm, the reason is this is the 800 swinging arm, probably a bit bigger, a bit meatier. Rear wheels are a little bit more accessible to buy. It's a natural progression up, and also we've got this room in here. I'm just trying to think out loud here for what I may need, either for just to get exhausts in, or obviously suspension unit's got to go through there. So yeah, it's a bit mucky, it wants cleaning, etc. But that's what's going in. I've got a back wheel on the way, he's supposed to be, but I think I've got one of them. Why do they waste your time, these people that sell something on eBay and then they don't communicate and they don't answer your messages and, you know, blah blah blah. But it's, anyway, looks like that one's going in a dispute and get one from somewhere else. Now, without boring you, it's been a bit of a long process to try and accurately reflect where I want to be with this. So I've determined it's 40mm higher up. As we touched on before, the output shaft of this engine is in the split line of the crankcases, whereas it is not on the VF engine. It's lower than the split line of the cases, hence the reason the swinging arm is laid quite low in this frame. So 40mm up puts us to the split line there as well. Very, very similar. So that line there is roughly where the new swinging arm pivot point's got to go. I'm not going to hack that out yet, for want of a better description. The way I'm going to try and do it is, very shortly, this is pretty loose. I'm going to take this out, put it on the bench, and put the R engine in and try and offer it in and just have a look what we've got to start with. Might be a bit of a ball ache on my own, so what we may end up doing is actually taking all the forks out, front out, etc., and offering the frame over the engine. I've got a good notes, etc., where everything goes on this now. I've measured it and double measured it and triple measured it, so I know where everything is now. And luckily, yes, it's just laid there at the side of the garage door. I did get the frame with the engine, so I did have to hack the lower. I don't want the frame, so it's no big deal to me, but I did have to hack the rear mounting bolt, the bottom engine mount bolt, out of this frame to get the engine out, okay? But it also gave me a measurement from swinging arm pivot to compare when this goes. If this is this bottom engine mount and it looks to be in a pretty similar place, when I put that engine in, it does actually sit on this engine mount in this frame, if you get what I mean. Then we'll see in relation to swinging arm pivot, etc. Luckily, cleverly, call it whichever version of it you want, luckily, cleverly, the swinging arm, the 800 arm, is identical length to this one. So anyone thinking of doing it, I don't know about the 750, but the 800 is absolutely identical length, so it'll sit there the same as that. So I know ride heights, I know all that sort of stuff, and I know absolute centre of the wheel position. But when we take all this out, and I've got my marks on the frame there of where the centre of the new wheel bolted to the arm and the arm offered in, move left and right, I think we're going to have to just open this frame out slightly. We're going to have to take this out, put a new one in, and just tweak the frame out just slightly. Maybe make use of trying to make an engine mount in here as well, like this one has, but that engine there doesn't. Okay, so it is work in progress. I am on with it. It is going to get done, and you know, I've got to put ladder up here to attic. The cats, they've been up once because when I put something up there to store it, and they plague the life out of me as soon as I come in here to go in there again. But anyway, there we go. So onwards and upwards. I am now going to go and, well, I'm going to make a cup of tea and I'm going to hump that engine out of there. Okay, watch this space.